Hey, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
A lot to talk about today. We always start with a little bit of empathy and how you made it through last year. So is that okay if we dig into a little bit about you, what you're working on, but more importantly, how the heck did you survive last year?
Yeah, no, sure. Thank you. And I'm glad to be on and speaking with you. So, yeah, last was certainly an adventure to say the least. And I'm in healthcare and focus on technology solutions in healthcare. So that even increased kind of dynamic of what we were experiencing. But I think the first thing was, like many companies, having to pivot to a remote workforce. So that was kind of the first order of business that we had to tackle, and some of us were more good and used to that than others. And being in technology, we had to facilitate some of that, although I'm not on the infrastructure side, and that did require all hands on deck to make that happen. And so we were able to make that shift, and then we had to adjust our cadence because we do work in an agile environment, so we're used to having daily stand-ups and face-to-face meetings. So all that had to shift to online and using video, and then dealing with those of us who had children in the background, and at least in the early stage, trying to figure out what their goal plan was going to be and what that was going to look like. So it was definitely.
You bring up a great point about the school plan. I mean, you look back on it, it was like every 3 weeks there was an update. Are we going to school? Are we not going to school? School at home? And it's just was a challenging time. I always look back and just when I look at some of the companies and I look at Jack Dorsey at Twitter, I mean, he was the first person that was just like, nope, from now on, it's remote. And he put up the office space for lease. And I was in San Francisco. I mean, I've been to the Twitter headquarters. It's gorgeous. It's multi-floors.
Right.
But I think to your point of, in a world of uncertainty, just knowing that there's a decision that you're not going back to work, right? Because I always thought that was interesting where the other companies were like, you can work from home till the end of summer. We're going to revisit it. Then you could work from home till the end of the year. Then we're going to revisit it. So even if you wanted to go travel somewhere or work anywhere, you always had this unknown. So did you ever have that where you wanted to go like remote work from somewhere, and where would that somewhere be?
Yes. So, I'm here in Texas, and one of the areas we wanted to go and we visit frequently is Colorado, and we have some relatives that have a place there that they lease out or on a regular basis. And so we identified that as a location we want to go, out in the mountain work and set the kids free when we're in school. But yeah, to your point, that there wasn't clarity around when or if we would be back in the office, and there was talk of, well, for certain types of meetings and discussions we were face to face, and so it was difficult to discern whether or not we would have that flexibility. And today we're a clear path, but and for the first half of 2020 or most of it, there wasn't necessarily clear direction on which we were going. And so, but our dream was to get out into the mountains and be able to hike trails when we weren't working and busy with other things, and return back to the office, if you will, when it was appropriate. So
I agree. I mean, there's going to be people that look back and wish they did it. There's always 100 reasons not to go, or a million reasons not to go, but sometimes it's just you got to go. And just I think there's just been a lot of flexibility, so that's wonderful. And now, can you believe out of all the industries to pick data science or anything with data healthcare and what you're doing? I mean, that is insane, life-changing. Can you tell us some of the work that you can share, or just what it's like being in your sector during a pandemic? It must be humbling and life-changing. Tell us about it.
Yes. So I'm more on the payer side, so that's more similar to insurance, right? HMO, PPMOs. So one of the things we first had to do is really adjust our rates and how we paid claims, because we were asked and basically provide these services at no cost, right? So we had to reimburse our providers were asked, and we were asked to reimburse. So providers being doctors and hospitals and so forth. So that was a major shift in having to pivot from previously paying claims, if you will, and treating our members with certain types of clinical care and management pivot pandemic. So we were previously more focused on long-term care issues or high utilization of certain services like frequent visits to ER, and how can we improve the quality of life for our members that experience these types of scenarios. But COVID came in the pandemic, and that shifted our focus. We were no longer focused primarily on that, and we had to shift to, okay, who's the most vulnerable to this? Who is it going to impact? How do we ensure that we have communication with them? How do we make sure they're getting their drugs and medication? Because no one's going out, and some of them didn't necessarily have mail order, and so all these things we have to begin to think about. And one of kind of the big pushes that we have campaigns, if you will, is encouraging people to regularly receive checkups or visit their primary care physician. So that, and again, we had to shift telemedicine and encouraging that, and so that people didn't fall behind on that and miss something that otherwise would have caught that, and leading to other issues as well. So it's certainly a big shift in the data. In terms of the data side, was really looking at our membership and looking at the demographics, looking at where people were at in stage life, in determining who were most at risk so we could target them first. We did that to a certain extent, but not with the pandemic in mind, right? We were looking at other types of conditions, whether it's asthma, whether it's other long-term care, but not with the virus. And so there was a lot known, and we kept getting conflicting or new updates from CDC and other agencies. And so that data had to, and how we performed that analysis, had to pivot often, if you will.
It's amazing how good the models were before the pandemic, and I'm sure how fine-tuned they are now. So I'm sure it has been, as a data person, a once in a lifetime to model during a pandemic, during it's really like during and then post-pandemic, because I don't think anyone models, at least your team is modeling what happens if a pandemic's going to happen. Right. So now you have like this incredible data set during pandemic. Then you'll be able to learn post-pandemic, and then catch up on the rates probably in 2023, which is going to be incredible.
Right.
That's absolutely incredible. And as far as the pandemic and claims, are you also looking then at like telemedicine, and how is that impacting some of the claims and some of the science going into it?
Yeah. So in our role here, it's we've contracted with other telemedicine services, and so and put in place agreements to offer that as a service. We're not offering the physicians for the service, but we're working with others. So that is something we're offering, and in fact, it's probably something we'll look at long term. And so and it's one of the things that may have come out of this is the fact that previously, again, I mentioned that we were focused on making sure people have regular contact with their physicians and make sure they're proactive and caring for their needs. And some people are homebound, or some people were just too busy of a schedule to take the time to take their children to such appointments. So when telemedicine kind of enters in, that provides a more convenient way for that. Now, there's still lab work and other things that still need to be done. You can't necessarily do telemedicine, but at least opens up kind of another avenue or channel for communication and offering healthcare and wellness to individuals where some may have not previously, and because of their schedules and so forth, taken advantage of that. I think that's one of the positive things that come out of it.
Absolutely. Now, and then the last question is your team. How big is it, and how are you going to change staffing now? You're coming out of the COVID. How big is the team, and what's the staffing plan? As you scale, and now you've learned everything.
Yes, one of the things we're doing is pivoting to the cloud at a more accelerated pace, and so with staffing, one of the things I'm going to do is look at skill sets and really upskill, if you will, some of our capabilities related to the cloud. And there's a big thing in healthcare right now, CMS interoperability, and this is some people refer to it as FHIR, and it's a big, it's made by the federal government or CMS, where we have to make our data available to be exchanged via public APIs. So the concept behind that is, if you look at a mint.com in the financial world or other solutions, you can get access to your credit card information, banking information, investment information, all in one application. Well, with CMS interoperability, at least capability will be there to do it for your healthcare data. And it's the notion that healthcare data is your data or my data or whoever's data that it's not a specific hospitals or insurance companies or providers data. And so that was going on in the middle of the pandemic. We did get there were some date changes in terms of the mandate when we had to deliver that. So that's July of this year. Part of the staffing is keeping that in mind as well, and growing the team out. And so where I have a team focused on really data governance and mastering and data quality. It was one team, and another on data integration and building out a data analytics platform. I've split those teams out now, and growing both teams. We're a relatively small company, but they're probably each around 10 individual plus contractors and consultants. They'll continue to grow as we move forward, but we're looking to pivot more to the cloud, take advantage of cloud native solutions.
Well, what I love about that is we have a great community, and so there are going to be some people I can connect you to that have gone through that, been through that, or at least can talk to you about how they're thinking about it. Right. So I think that's the beauty of a community, is people to lean on. It's a big undertaking, but you're right, and it's always different when the government says you have to do it. So
right.
I applaud you for doing it. I think the way you're staffing about it is the right way. But again, there's going to be people that I'd love to introduce you to that are, again, part of the community that just do this, are doing this in their own place. I think sometimes it's just nice in this time of isolation, just to network with people at that same stage. Would that be okay? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I definitely welcome the ability to network and talk to others in the community and learn about their experiences and challenges and how they approach this. So that's great. And
I agree, because we don't have that luxury yet. And Zoom conferences, Zoom big things, like you don't really. Sometimes it's too robotic for me. So if I can meet 2 or 3 people and have just 2 really good conversations, first of all, it breaks up the loneliness and self-isolation. And then we will get out of this, and I could just upskill and network with like A talent. So I appreciate you being open to that.
Yeah, definitely.
This is cool. So this is the data standard. We're sponsored by Pandio. They're doing some great stuff, and it's because of them we can scale. So they'll also be someone I'll be connecting with. But this is a cool little show. And is there anything else you want to plug before we wind down the show?
No, I'll say is, one thing I love about data standard is data. I've been on both the digital side, driving digital transformation, and data, but data is at the center of all this, whether it's data science, whether it's digital transformation, data at the center, and there's large amounts of volumes of data now that companies have to contend with, and so it's a very important topic, and we're accelerating this with cloud and other technologies at a rapid pace. So sometimes it's just very difficult to discern, which route to go, where to invest, who to invest in, what to invest in. And so having something like the data standard and being able to hear experiences other people have and share and learn from them, I think is very valuable.
You delight me, because that's what we're trying to do. And the only thing I'm going to add to that is that the people that we have in our network believe in empathy and kindness. So we're also taking a very human side to the connection, right? Because I think that's the second part.
Right.
Is
right.
The people we're going to meet, have that thread of empathy and how to help each other, right? There's a lot of smart people out there, and it's nice to have smart and empathetic people in our community. So this has been a win. Yeah, I'm looking forward to connecting. And what city are you out of?
I'm in Houston, Texas.
You're in Houston. All right. So I'm not there, but I'm in Miami. So if I get out there, we're going to have a cocktail. If you come out this way, drinks on me.
I look forward to it.
Fair?
Yes.
And listen, get to Colorado. Do it. We'll meet up there, right? Just push it.
Right,
There's a millions of no's, and if you make it out there, promise you'll send me a picture. Is that fair?
Yeah, fair. Definitely do that.
All right. Thanks, my man.
All right, thank you.
All right, stay out of trouble. I'll make some connections for you. You got it.
All right, appreciate it, Darren.